Hello, Nag sir.
Yes.
Sir, good afternoon. Arun Singhal this side.
Oh, nice to hear from you, Singhal Saab. How are you?
Very well, sir. Very well.
Yeah, how
And
are
sir,
you?
good afternoon, Dr. Wan.
Very, yeah, good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon,
Very
Arun
good
sir.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah,
Nice to see you, sir.
yeah. Same
Yeah,
here.
nice to see you all.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, sir, now Dr. Mishra is coming to AND.
Yeah, Ravi Mishra ji is coming to END. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
When
month
is he
only.
joining, sir? When is he
He,
joining?
the date is not yet fixed, but he
Okay.
has to join before 31st. So hopefully he should be there. He should be in Dehradun during last third week, I suppose.
Okay. Very right. Very right. I think he's taken a long time to come back to Dehradun
Yeah,
after
yeah,
OVL and other places,
yeah.
And Bhansab, very nice event your students have organized, I
Yes.
think
Yeah,
compliments
thanks.
to them and your visualization and your guidance to them.
Yeah, thanks, sir, and all hard work of students, and because of your
Sir,
motivation, guidance. Yeah, because
no, sir. I think
yeah,
you
all
are
the
the
time,
motivation behind them.
every time you are available and you are giving guidance, motivation,
No,
judging. Yeah,
sir.
so that
My
is more
pleasure to
important
be a
rather than
part of your events.
yeah, rather than my guidance. That is more important.
No, sir. I think you are being modest, but I think it's your guidance to your students that they are doing so well.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think they have been rewarded also by AAPG. I think AAPG has recognized their efforts and they have been
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's a very good sign.
This is congratulations. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And
Mm.
it's all because of great team, student team, because they are learning. Basically, all these events, activities, all are part of training.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how they
Very
enhance
right.
their skill, how they can
Yes.
improve.
हेलो
Yeah.
अरे
So
अरे बस में ऑयल का ऑग्नि खत्म हुआ ना तो फिर
पानी आने लगा
क्या कहते हैं वो कॉल किया था अच्छा सुनो क्लोजिंग सेरेमनी में मैं प्रेजेंट कर रहा हूँ
and the main thing that like Kaustubh sir and all industry experts and your busy schedule, in your busy schedule, you are also giving your 100% time throughout the event. So that is more important.
Mhm.
So Dr. Priyadarshi has joined. He is not visible.
He's in the meeting, sir, but he has just stepped out for a minute. He'll be with us
Okay.
within a minute
Okay.
again.
Okay. Okay. So these students, they have worked hard during this pandemic situation.
Very right. No, I
It's a
think I
great learning.
must
Yes.
compliment Apoorv. He's really running after things
Yes.
to get
Yes.
them organized very nicely. So
Yes.
congratulations and compliments to Apoorv.
Yes. Because he's a president and all the team work.
Hello.
Great teamwork
Namaste. How are
under
you?
his leadership.
Sir, namaskar.
Can you hear me?
Sir, Dr. Priyadarshi, sir, namaskar.
Sir, it's a long team. That
Namaskar.
Sir, namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. Priyadarshi, sir. Udaybhan is here. Welcome you, sir.
Satyam, sir.
Oh, thank you, Udaji. Thanks, Apurva.
सर हमारा भी नमस्कार स्वीकार करें
आपका नमस्कार अरुण जी
Namaskar, sir. Udaybhan is here. Priyadarshi, sir. Namaskar.
नमस्कार
Welcome,
Dr.
sir.
Priyadarshi, very good afternoon. I am Kaustav Nag from ONGC. I am also.
Kaustav ji, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Last time we had met at SPG, Kochi.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. So I'm good.
So sir, what time at your place now?
It's it's like 6:10 a.m.
Okay.
Morning. Okay, so your first appointment for the day.
That is right. That too on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but it works, sometimes sometimes these are good times actually.
Yeah. I think fresh thoughts, and then
No, while COVID may have created a lot of problems, but there are certain things that has happened for the good.
For the good, yeah.
very right, sir.
But I think if we can sustain it, that will be the nice thing.
So that is the only thing I think we need to sustain it, and I think we need to keep going.
Yeah.
But we can't lower our guards, sir, because single sub, Dr. Priyadarshi, you must be aware, ONGC may a lot of incidents. Very
Yeah.
sad news is also in Geopic. The entire office had to be closed down. Almost 100 people affected, contracted COVID, and we are passing through a terrible time.
Very right, sir. Very right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think couple of challenges are there. Precaution is the only measure that works.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But people very quickly forget that, oh, if nothing has happened to me in 2 months, it won't happen, and that's where the problem starts.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, the one very strange thing, at least what I have seen in Dehradun, even after all this, if you go to the market, it's crowded. The streets are crowded, and I wonder either people are, I think, taking it very lightly, or maybe they think that nothing would happen to them.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's been a different lifestyle. Arunji, you know that, right? I traveled so much that for now 13 months, I haven't literally gone out of my neighborhood.
But sir, I think, your travel has now compensated with your sitting in front of the computer, attending, I think, a countless number of webinars, talks that you have been giving all around the world. Am I correct?
अब क्या ऐसा है ना कि इंडिया से जो सीखा है वो तो ज्ञान तो बांटना ही पड़ेगा कहीं ना कहीं.
पर सर वो मेरे ख्याल एयर ट्रैवल से ज्यादा आपका स्ट्रेस हो रहा होगा काम.
It's actually हाँ मतलब काम मतलब it's more I can commit to more things compared to what I was able to. So even like this time zone for some people they may not be comfortable. For me it's okay. Like क्या करें घर में ही बैठे हैं क्या करें सोने से तो अच्छा है. और दूसरा young generation that's my passion, right? Somehow transform this young generation and so it doesn't matter if I have to wake up little early or sleep little late, but the generation after us need to be trained for the sustainable world, as we call it.
Very right, sir.
Right.
Welcome to all our guests. We'll start in a minute.
Okay.
With your permission.
So Satyam sir, where are you located at current?
I live in a city called Herndon, which is in Northern Virginia or in the state of Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C.
Okay.
But office-wise, currently, our headquarters is in Houston. Yeah. But I also run the Bangalore center, so it doesn't matter where I am now. But my family lives here in Northern Virginia.
Okay. So it's a very rare to come in India sometimes.
No, see, before COVID, I came, I don't know, I came like maybe 4 times a year. I don't know. I can't even remember that. But I used to travel a lot actually before COVID.
Yeah.
I was less in US than everywhere else in the world. And if COVID actually subsides and travel becomes easier, then after September, I'll start coming again. I might be going on a what is called SPE lecture circuit. Because for this year, I am one of those distinguished lecturers for SPE for digital transformation.
Okay. Great.
So that starts in September sometime. If not, we will do through virtual. At least for the countries where we cannot travel, we'll do virtual, and then the countries we will be allowed to travel, I might go in person because so
With
Now
your permission, sir,
all will
may
be
we start?
habitual to virtual, to work on virtual and join, present, sharing knowledge, talking, discuss everything in virtually. So
yeah,
if
it's
it will
actually
be,
nice.
yeah, if it will be go long, then people will be habitual to the mobile, laptop, net, and so on.
So Apurva, how much time do I have on the talk side?
Sir, as much as you need to enlighten the students. We have enough time scheduled here. Not a
Okay.
problem. With your permission, sir, I would like to start the event now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I request our MOCs to please start the event. Thank you. Welcome to everyone.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
The only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work for them. Obstacles cannot stop you. Problems cannot stop you. Once you spare with your full will to indulge into the realm of persistence, focus, and vision. Very good afternoon to one and all present here. Today, I, Srishti Raj,
And I, Ananya Dikshit,
on behalf of UPES APG Student Chapter, welcome you all to the closing ceremony of the virtual edition of our 5th International Technical Conference and Workshop, Trust 21. Our sincere thanks to our sponsors, ONGC, Danza Living, IOCL, Halliburton, Petrogate Academy, and Drilling and Exploration World DEW Journal for making this venture possible.
focusing on developing the industry academia collaboration and nourishing them as a future fuel for Trust 21 has been a remarkable platform, witnessing the presence of globally recognized scientists, engineers, and industry professionals of opportunity for the brightest of young minds to grow and enhance their technical comprehension and presentation. We would also like to take a moment to extend a heartfelt thanks to our alumni for being with us and guiding us through their invaluable experiences, their efforts, and their continuous support. I now call on our mentor, Dr. Uday Bhan, Country Coordinator, APG India, Faculty Advisor of UPS APG Student Chapter, and Convener for 21, to share his wisdom and word of encouragement with.
Yeah, thanks. And very good afternoon to all of you, respected guests of the day. Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi, Managing Director, Landmark Halliburton India, Arun Kumar Singhal Sir, Chief Editor, Div General, Dr. Kaustubh Nag Sir, Chief General Manager, ONGC, faculty members of UPES, team UPS APG, dear students and participants. I welcome you all in this closing ceremony of CRUST 2021. Intensive 4 days, productive, fruitful, and wonderful participation, and had great learning among you through various events. And I hope all of you have been enlightened by team experts from industry as well as academia. Now today is time to conclude and to receive the recognitions of these competitive events during these last 3 days. So first of all, I must congratulate to great team UPES APG for providing great opportunity to all the participants to join together and to share their knowledge, skills, and participate in various events. So they have planned wonderful and organized all those events. I appreciate all of their enthusiasm, hard work in planning and execution of such innovative events. With all my best wishes for with the team UPS APG, and especially the members of this CRUST and core team of APG, Mr. Apur Kumar Jha, President, Astos Mathur, Vice President, UPS APG, Nandini Rajput, Secretary, although they are final year students and very soon they might leave to me, but I will still be here to welcome you coming, CRUST and other events. Ritik Pant, Chapter Officer, Abhimanyu, Pranav, Shreya, Ritesh, Sasank, Solanki, Gaurav, and Anwarat. So they have worked hard last 3 to 4 months, and I have observed and continuously I monitored to them the kind of energy, spirit they have proved last 3 days, and today the time has come. I wish you all the best for all the participants and winners of the Crust 2021. I will not take much your time, and we are here to listen to Dr. Priyadarshini sir, Kaustubh sir, and Arun sir, because I will be in UPS campus and very easily approachable to all of you. So you can approach me at any time. Okay. So the last, just I want to finish with some Hindi lines to you. इम्तिहान होगा हर मोड़ पर, इम्तिहान होगा हर मोड़ पर, हार कर मत बैठ जाना किसी मोड़ पर। इम्तिहान होगा हर मोड़ पर, हार कर मत बैठ जाना किसी मोड़ पर। हो सकता है तकदीर बदल जाए अगले मोड़ पर, हो सकता है तकदीर बदल जाए अगले मोड़ पर, जब करोगे मुकाबला मुश्किलों का उन्हीं को मोड़ पर, उन्हीं को मोड़ कर। So you have participated and you have find during the organizing, during the managing so many hurdles, and you remove all those hurdles and finally got the success in your plan and in your dream. So at the last, with these lines, I will finish my words. कि मुश्किलें दिल के इरादे आजमाते हैं, मुश्किलें दिल के इरादे आजमाते हैं, स्वप्न के पर्दे निगाहों से हटाते हैं। हौसला गिरकर मत हारना कभी, हौसला गिरकर मत हारना कभी, ठोकरें ही तो मनुष्य को चलना सिखाते हैं। So wish you all the best. Congratulations to all of you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for those enlightening words.
We now welcome our honored guest, Mr. Arun Kumar Singhal, founder and editor of Drilling and Exploration World Journal, to address our audience.
Good afternoon, everybody. You see, it would be like showing a candle to the sun if I talk anything about technology and digital technology in front of a champion, in front of a guru like Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi. So I think, at this moment, I have spoken a lot at your event here, for the last 2 days. But I think this is the moment when we should hear to Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi and his wise words, rather than share something which we have learned from him. So my only request is that I am as eager as you all are to listen to Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi and his words of wisdom and his technological expertise that he has in the field of digitalization. So I think my only thing is, I convey my congratulations to UPS AAPG student chapter for very ably organizing this. The entire student chapter needs accolades for this, and I think I have attended some of your competitions. They're so very well organized. Compliments to you. And I have been attending Crust for the last 3 times, and I think every time that I attend, I find it to be getting better and better. So I think the compliment goes to the faculty advisors who have been so very meticulously working so hard with their students. And I think at this moment it would be very just on my part to speak something on technology when a person like Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi is here. I think I am as eager to listen to him as you all are. So with these words, I think thank you for inviting me and giving me a chance to share my few words. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arun.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. We are honored to have with us Dr. Kaustubh Nag, Chief General Manager, ONGC. We extend a hearty welcome to you, sir. I now request Dr. Kaustubh Nag to come forward and share his words of wisdom.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I have been asked to share my thoughts on this occasion, but it will be more apt and relevant to hear to Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi, who is the guru of big data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning in today's world. However, since I have been given few minutes, I'll share my thoughts on this occasion. Distinguished guests, delegates, participants, Dr. Uday Bhan, convener of Crust 21, students, organizers, faculty members who have joined this event virtually. It has really been a privilege for me to attend this Crust 21, which is in its 5th year. As you all know, we are passing through a torrid time which has hit us physically, mentally, and psychologically. So at the very outset, I would like to wish you and your family members good health, happiness. The topic of this Crust 21, transforming technology and inspiring reality, is not only very apt and relevant in today's context, but it is, I would call it a sine qua non, because it is very much essential in oil and gas industry at the present moment. I would just like to start with a quote by Daniel Yergin, who is the leading energy expert of the world, and who in his recent book, The New Map, has told and has elaborated on the impact of technology. He said that people always underestimate the impact of technology. To give you an example, in the 1970s, the frontier for offshore development was 200 meters, but today it is 4,000 meters. Friends, oil and gas industry, as you all know, is very much technologically driven. Its input deterministic and output is probabilistic. But as a geoscientist and as a technocrat or as an engineer, it is our earnest duty to take our country forward through energy security. As long as we have new ideas and as long as there is an explorationist who believes that there is an oil or gas beneath Earth's surface that should be drilled, we will develop the technology to do it. Just to share my thoughts on this occasion, the technology which is presently being used, adopted, and implemented in oil and gas industry can be categorized into two parts. One is exploration for frontier basins, and second is for exploitation. As you all know that the entire world is now passing through an energy transition because of certain compulsions, climate deals, increasing space of renewables. But I tell you one thing, that all the energy forecast models have predicted that oil and gas will continue to remain very relevant till 2040 and 2050. India is also moving in this direction. India is moving towards a gas-based economy. The current energy mix in the primary mix of gas is around 6%, and the government intends to increase it to 15% by 2030. A lot of transformative policies have come during the last 4 or 5 years, and I would say that data are becoming the new raw material of business. Now, during this technological induction, there are two ways through which we can induct technology in oil and gas upstream. The first is using the technology in areas which are very remote, and to understand the area's geology and subsurface, we need a lot of technologies. Now, some of the technologies which have been inducted have been in seismics, like 4D seismic surveys, wide azimuth surveys, node technology, seismic guided drilling, full tensor gravity gradiometry, improved visualization through advanced processing techniques. All these are there. But along with it also, there is, India has 7 sedimentary basins which are quite matured and in category 1. Now, if we can maximize the recovery factor from the matured basins, that also will help. How? If through the combination of IORs and EOR schemes, the recovery factors in oil fields can be enhanced to up to 50%. Globally, the recovery factor is around 20 to 40%. So with improved IORs through EORs implementation, this can be enhanced. As you all know, that through technology induction, new basins, the architecture of new basins can also be visualized. It will help us to understand the basin architecture, the structural evolution of basins, the real-time monitoring of dynamic data, and through petroleum system modeling, we can have an idea about the petroleum system elements of those basins. Friends, there are around 14 category 3 basins in India, and there are 5 category 2 basins of India. Though the prognosticated resources are more in category 1 basins, the category 2 and category 3 basins also have a vast geographical area which lie untapped. So this technology induction is required in category 2 and category 3 basins for understanding the basin evolution. That is known as to make the invisible visible. And this is only possible through the induction of new technologies. I won't take much time. I once again would like to compliment the team of Trust 21 for ably conducting this 3-day event. And yesterday I happened to be in the judges panel, and there were some excellent presentations. So I am very much confident that Trust 21 will continue to reach newer heights in the future. And I wish you all very, very happy days ahead. And with these words, I would just like to end my message that transforming technology and inspiring reality is in your hands, friends. Dear students, participants, and delegates, it is in your hands. Go, take risks, and succeed. Success means the ability to stand up every time we fall. Thank you all, and wish you all the very best. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your treasured words. Success isn't about what you accomplish in your life. It's about what you inspire others to do. With these words, and with great honor, I now welcome our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi, Managing Director, Indian Center, and Chief Data Scientist for Halliburton, to share his words of wisdom and to inspire us to become great.
Good evening. Is my slides visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
All right. Thanks, everyone, and especially Apurva and the Trust 21 team for inviting me. And I'm really humbled to be presenting at UPES AAPG event because it's just an opportunity for me to share some of my thoughts. And especially if it was in person, I would be in Dehradun with my parents, but I'm here in Washington, DC. So I think I'm virtually in Dehradun, so I'm happy about that. So what I want to talk about is like, since you talked about Trust motto is transforming technology, inspiring reality. I thought what is actually, if we look at where the industry is, and we'll talk in general terms of energy industry and give some examples from oil and gas industry more specifically. is what I call the need of what I call the avatar talent. And I think it's an important concept that especially the young generation can take it forward and actually really transform, as Dr. Nag was saying, that, we would have oil for another 40 years or 50 years. But, one of the most interesting thing about oil and gas industry is that we have been saying the same dialogue that we will have oil for 50 years for the last 50 years. But as far as we know that how much oil is there under the Earth's surface, we really don't know. So we should not worry about it. What we should worry about is how do we actually leverage the fuel effectively for a sustainable Earth and the climate that we all live in and for the future generation. And for that, I think the technology is what is needed, but its implementation requires the talent. So that's where the theme of the talk is. What I'll talk about in big picture, basically that's my agenda really for the talk, is like talk about energy transition, the bigger picture, and how it fits and how it can be transformed through what I call the digital transformation. While the industry talks about digitalization, which is outdated term, we'll talk about the next generation, and then how do we actually bring the talent into that readiness program, and how do we create value. So before I can actually talk about the real talk, let me thank a number of people after my parents, of course, my primary school teacher from ONGC Sibsagar, as well as my PhD advisor from IIT Bombay. And I'm probably one of those lucky people. And in fact, it's been 5 years when I met them in one room in Bombay, that I'm blessed by both my primary school teachers and my PhD advisor, and of course my family, my friends, and a lot of team members for the last so many years in corporate world, and of course all the audience who is attending this talk, as well as the teams at UPES, AAPG, as well as the larger UPES community, and of course the city of Dehradun. And special thanks to one of my well-wisher, Mr. Arun Singhal. He has been very kind to me. I met him in Malaysia actually a couple of years, almost 5 years ago, I think. And since then, he's been very kind to me. So I especially thank him for letting me connect to Dehradun again. So for the benefit of students, I just tell you that, there has been discussions both by Dr. Uday Khan as well as Arunji and Dr. Nag, that, talking about success and things like that. So success, as I think उनकी पोएम में था कि मोड़ कौन सा मोड़ आ जाता है तो उस मोड़ को कैसे मोड़ा जाए तो सक्सेस मिलता है. That is the gist of it. And I just want to give you a background so I have nothing to do with oil and gas industry except that I'm a child of ONGC, but I have a PhD in quantum mechanics applied to biophysics problems, and I spent many years as a chemistry professor, so to say, in the fields of nanotechnology, artificial photosynthesis, and inverse molecular design. But one day I decided that that's enough of science. Let me go into technology, and I joined a company called AOL, which was the first company to bring internet to people's home. So I was in the operations side, and that's where I learned how to connect data that comes in real time and actually make value. When oil and gas industry talks about that they have a lot of data, but I guarantee you that nothing like that actually exists, which I used to do it in 2000. Because it was all real time and I had to make money out of it because it was a business. So we have challenges in our industry, but we can resolve them. And then I spent many years as executive in company, turned around some companies, and now I do this building of teams in data science and emerging technology so that we can transform some of the industry. I joined Halliburton 7 years ago with the full aim of transforming not Halliburton, just actually the industry itself. So what many of the things I talk about may be very out of the league if you were to hear a regular Halliburton person actually, where there will be products and solutions and things like that. I talk about how do we transform the industry. And of course, I'm associated with multiple universities as a professor, visiting professor, adjunct professor, or advisor, but in fields of computer science, as well as big MBA programs, Nothing to do with chemistry in those universities, but I still have my collaborations in India as well as in US. So the thing, what I'm saying to younger generation is that don't block yourself in what degree you do. Look at what passion is for you and navigate to that passion as you can safely and securely. But keep open your mind for figuring out things from multiple dimensions so that you can be actually really successful. With that, let me talk about the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that irrespective of the industry, we are all facing what I call is a deep compounded disruption. And the deep compounded disruption is actually will have what is I call exponential impact on our life and in general, the whole world in many ways. And this comes from what is called the concept of digital maturity, how mature we are if we are talking about industry, or if we are talking personally, or we are talking about a country, or we are talking about an industry, right? So digital maturity will really impact pretty much all these areas. Same thing is energy transition. While it's very good to talk about energy transition in this scope of oil and gas industry or energy industry, but energy transition impacts pretty much every industry. So it's a domino effect that it will cause. And the third one is the emerging technologies that are evolving faster pace than actually we can adopt them, because one of the foundational reason is that we are not actually ready as people to actually adopt them. The last one is what I call the hidden forces, which was the pandemic, which probably nobody ever planned in their forecasting models. And now going forward, pretty much everybody will actually include some kind of a pandemic, because this is not the first one that will happen to us now at the scale that it has happened. Various pandemics have happened in the past, but not at the scale that this one was. And so every forecasting model, every predictive model will start including one of those variables into it. Now, if you look at it, I'll talk about digital maturity later, but let's talk about the energy transition landscape. While it is there, and it is going to be a very complex, in fact, it's going to be so complex that any forecasting model that wants to predict that they know what combination of energy sources would be there, what's the consumption model will be there, it will look like this picture of valleys and troughs, basically, that you don't know which country and which organization will fall in which of those local troughs, or local minimas. And so everybody will have to navigate those landscape in their best possible way, whether it's a combination of renewable plus oil and gas, or in gas and only renewable plus oil, depends on so many factors. But irrespective of it, it is there for us to actually navigate, and this is an important aspect. That especially it impacts oil and gas industry. Since 2014, roughly about 170 oil field services companies have filed for bankruptcy, and the loss that they're calculating is roughly in billions of dollars. So the industry is going through a big transition, and it cannot be resolved just by doing purely a business alignment, because it requires a lot more than business alignment. And that is where it will be actually the impact of what is called the Industry 4.0 revolution. How fast can we adopt, especially in the oil and gas industry, the practices of Industry 4.0. So there are various industrial revolution you might have studied in your some other classes. If not, please go and research what are the 4 industry revolutions. But I will talk about the Industry 4.0, especially what it is. It's all about increasing your digital maturity. That means if for example, all of you live on a smartphone pretty much, or now at least using the video calls, and you are okay with it. But when it comes to businesses, we have been like behind in this process. But if you look at it, what we do is mostly stay in the left-hand corner of this graph, in trying to do some little bit of data-driven innovations in companies, but not really at the pace that it should be, so that we can do real-time resource optimization. But at the same time, if we actually leverage emerging technologies that are coming at the pace they are coming, then we can actually disrupt ourselves, or otherwise new industry will come and disrupt us. But this requires a complete rethinking of how we actually approach the problem. Most of us actually in our oil and gas industry especially talk about of what is called digitalization. And as I said, this is pretty much a second step, and it is not, it doesn't create enough value for the industry, but we have to go through those steps. You can't climb to digital transformation if you don't do digitalization, and before that you have to do digitization. As we all know that oil and gas industry especially is not even 100% digitized. Whatever people might say, there is only one company that I have met in last 7 years in Dubai which has 100% digitization, but no, they have not reached the second step yet, and they're working on it. So this is the maturity curve that we need. Now, for many of you, you might think these are simple definitions or these are simple terms. They're not. I'll give you an example from another industry which should tell you that this is an important function. And especially in India, I've read many articles saying that if digital transformation happens or digitization happens, we will lose jobs and we won't have enough roles for people. But that is also not a right concept. Or right approach, because I can tell you that no technology evolution has ever reduced the total number of jobs. In fact, it has created more. If we look at an example from music industry, the digitization was a process of taking an audio and putting it on an LP record. So many of you were not born at that time. So some of you may not have even seen an LP record, I am guessing. But it was not easy to share. The second step happened when CD player came, or a Walkmans came, or cassette players came, which was a miniaturization of the same technology. And it was slightly easier to share. You can carry the Walkman or the iPod and share with people. But today, the generation that you are all in is like you listen to the songs on a cloud server somewhere, and you create your own album, and you press a button and you can share the same album with your friends without sending the song. So that is called a transformation of an industry. But if you look at oil and gas industry, large amount of the data is sitting in like an LP record. It's sitting in boxes, on servers, on tapes. And in fact, it's sitting on desks of people that they don't want to share. And it's a very, it's not a, what I should say, a negative statement, but it is a statement that is actually causing the oil and gas industry to lose a lot of money, which I call capital waste. And there was an article in 2019 when an investor group actually said that for the last 20 years, oil and gas industry has done what is called capital destruction. So this is where it comes, because this data that you create is actually being generated by money. It is not free. By storing it, you are actually spending money, but not creating value from it is what the problem is. But having said all these negative things, the positive things are here. Like during the LP era, there were 10 artists and 10 companies which made those record players, and they made money. When cassettes came, a lot more people started getting the became artists. A lot more companies came into play. But today in the streaming world, we employ millions of people and millions of artists exist, and billions of dollars is actually at the stake. So you see, as technology evolved, number of jobs have increased exponentially in this industry, and as well as the size of the market size has become so large that you can't even imagine. So, but if you think of it, your streaming operations you're doing on a cell phone, and so miniaturization of technology does not, or adoption of new technology does not reduce jobs. And there are examples and examples after this. If many of you will remember, when computers came, people said, oh, computers have come, now we don't need people. Everything will be automated. That hasn't happened anywhere. In fact, we had now database administrator, we have a system administrator, we have a SharePoint administrator, we have Word experts, we have Excel experts. Those jobs didn't exist before. So these articles that are written by companies is to discourage the young generation instead of telling them that there is a lot of opportunities. But now that I've seen all the negative things, let's come to some positive things in terms of now it is time that we can actually leverage digital transformation effectively so that we can actually create faster insights and actions. If we can actually connect the data sets that we have, and I call them the data universe, and leverage the data science model at scale, we can actually create inference engines and create what I call actionable insights at a much faster pace than we were ever done in the past. Because digital transformation by definition is about the change associated with the application of digital technologies across all aspects of the business life cycle that impacts the development of new business models. Now, somebody might say business model can't change for oil and gas industry. Here, the business model means that it could be on one particular area that you are working on, one workflow, one asset, whatever it is. So everywhere the business model term can be used, and that actually brings that it can remain competitive and sustainable. And of course, in the eyes of the pandemic, to be resilient. And this is very important for if you want to survive in this compounded disruption era. And this compounded disruption era is going to be continued actually for a long term. So digital transformation is not a buzzword, as I call it, and it's time for us to really implement and actually adopt it at a much faster pace. And in order to do that, there are 4 pillars of digital transformation. If anybody wants to really understand and work, which is the first one is the foundational, what I call the big data analytics. The second one is the integration of the emerging technologies. The third one is called the real-time insights. And the last one is that we can build automated systems. Irrespective of what area we are talking about, whether it's drilling, whether it's exploration, all of them are open for us to actually disrupt. Now, since the foundation lies in big data, let's understand what big data term means. There are a lot of definitions of big data that exist. You may have read some in your courses as well. So our students must have read in courses, and people must have read definitions. Most of those definitions are flawed because they don't talk about the real thing, what big data is. It's like the Panchtantra story that 6 blind people are describing an elephant, and they say it's a snake or log or drum or whatever because they're blind, and they touch the elephant and tell you that. It's exactly the same way that people define big data as lots of data, data lakes, 3 Vs, 4 Vs, 5 Vs, 32 Vs, 128 Vs, and things like that. Or if you want to act very smart and talk to computer science people, they will tell you it's about Hadoop, Storm, deep learning, and neural networks or artificial intelligence. And if you don't want to do anything, you can say it's a buzzword. Now, these are all pieces of the elephant. They are not the elephant itself. It's for us, the elephant is actually that it's all about the data. If you're talking about oil well life cycle, then all the data should be really considered, which is the historical data, the current data, and the future data that we don't know what it is. And so we should be ready for it. That means we should really pipeline the data, because if we just look at oil and gas industry, then which is very good at pipelining oil and gas, but when it comes to data pipelining, we are very bad, or we are way behind rather. But so the thing is, now today's world, we can connect any kind of data, whether it's PDF file, whether it's Excel file, whether it's database, and the data can be anywhere, which is I call the virtual data. In line with what I just talked to you about streaming operations for music, the data is sitting in some cloud server and you are able to hear that music wherever you are. Why can't we do that kind of things for our industry as well? If we actually do that, then we have to leverage emerging technologies and the complete analytics value chain, which is science as well as data science, as I call it. Because some people just stick to scientific formula, some people want to do only data-driven innovation, but this is actually complete. You have to use any of those models, irrespective of where they come, or you actually augment them. The goal behind this is that if you want to be a sustainable player in the energy transition, then we have to remove what I call hidden inefficiencies so that you can create your business value. This requires a new kind of thinking, which is I call paradigm shift. And you have to be very good at pattern recognition. And then, of course, the stakeholder value remains. Now, removing hidden inefficiencies is very, very important. And I think there is one master in the world, which many of you, since most of you are in Dehradun, you would know. You should know this Chopai very well. All of you sing, like 1.1 billion people sing this Chopai in the world, which is called Sukshma Roop Dhari Sihi Dikhawa, Vikat Roop Dhari Lank Jarawa, Bhim Roop Dhari Asur Sangare, Sita Ram Ji Ke Kaas Samare. Now, this is the example of a person who can transform depending on what problem he's solving. So I am guessing you know what it is. Who is that? All of us sing this Chopai, but we never implement that Chopai into practice. Right? Every Tuesday, every Saturday, we go and sing. And that is the most important part of us. If you want to be successful, look at the challenge, look at the blockers in front of you, whether it's technology blocker, whether it's a business blocker, whether it is a career blocker, and see what avatar do I really need to take to resolve that and transform myself to address that challenge. So in my definition of modern definition of avatar, of course, Hanumanji was an avatar of Shiv, but here is a definition of avatar: be always versatile and adaptable, be transformative, be agile, and be resilient. And this is what the talent needs to be that will succeed. And why does that success require? It doesn't matter what industry, what career you will follow, impact of these emerging technology is going to be significant. Now, one cannot say that, oh, I don't know programming, or I don't want to learn programming, I don't like visualization, I don't want to read geology because, or I don't want to read drilling because I'm a geologist. I think all those people will have challenges. One has to be multidisciplinary, multifaceted, and multidimensional to really be successful as we move forward. And that requires that you actually have one day you are a geologist, the next day you are a driller, and the third day you may be an HSE expert, or fifth day you could be a computer programmer or whatever, right? That requires that you need be able to be agile and adapt to what problem we are solving, because these technologies are coming at a much faster pace in every industry. Forget about oil and gas. So we really need to tackle them. I will probably try to finish in like 2 minutes or so. This requires a different kind of approach. One has to really think in simple terms. If even with that Chopai that I showed you, it was very simple, right? It was only 20 words, but that's how you have to think in simple terms, create a mashup of data silos, be agile, reduce the total cost of ownership, and be technology agnostic. And this is what I call the smart approach. We have leveraged that, for example, in oil and gas industry, we leveraged this smart approach with a project in Petro Vietnam a couple of years ago. And we showed them that, they could have saved about $200 million per year from a single joint venture by actually what we call the analysis of what is called unstructured data from their daily drilling report. And now this project is going further into more production, and they would save a lot of money. Now this is coming from only historical data, and you can actually really see the value that how much money we have lost in the industry, but it can be done. Another example, I'll just show you that leverage of emerging technologies when you implement to fault interpretation. I have an open challenge to our friends in exploration. For the last 50, 60 years, most industries have been doing fault interpretation, but where is the library of all the faults that have been detected? It has a similar challenge to what is called face recognition technology, that today we can use smartphone and be very happy when it recognizes our faces. And we think, oh my God, look at that, how nice it is that it can recognize me or my son or my daughter very easily. But when it comes to faults in the exploration world, we have created millions of them, but we never created the library. And we still struggle. We do repeated jobs over and over and over again. But the days are over for that. Soon it will be automated. Some of the examples that we have actually put up with using the use of artificial intelligence models, which can actually reduce the time it creates, and it can actually be much better than human beings, almost as good as human beings, within 5% of actually expert. So I can actually replace human beings, but it actually now that exploration scientists, as I call them, can actually really go and be very specific where to go drill, things like that, rather than actually trying to find them. And that is the important part. This is what is called, transforming technology, and it inspires reality, as your logo is. But actually, it's more important is that what we talk about the future sustainability of using that. And in order to do that, we can actually look at the full oil well life cycle spectrum is actually ready for that transformation across whether it's completions, production, reservoir drilling, and in fact geothermal and other places. So my team, which is in India and as well as in Houston, we are engaged in many of these areas. I'm not going to go in details of it, but look at another aspect of technology evolution which took place for this industry is what the concept we call it the hybrid cloud, which is a brand name of iEnergy, but forget about the brand name in that sense. It's a cloud platform which actually changes the whole world, how it actually can be implemented. And what is it very important is it comes with a partnership of a lot of companies and a lot of technologies. And today we have deployed it over 120 countries around the world, 120 installations around the world. And for people, especially in exploration, there is challenge as to where it can be implemented. Another technology where some countries will not allow you to go on a public cloud. So we actually build what is called a private cloud, and which we call commercial name is Landmark Earth Appliance, which can actually run pretty much every application that is needed by the oil and gas industry. You can run it on a truck, so to say. Right, because you can put that big box, which can scale in technology terms to petabytes of data, and actually do the visual three-dimensional exploration images, which are very hard unless you use supercomputers. But combining technology from multiple partners, as I showed earlier, can actually be brought into a box and can be really leveraged. If you can look at number of applications and number of people that have come together to actually leverage such a system is significant. Like, nothing comes from one company. It is an effort that goes in to actually transform an industry. And as a result, we call it that if we actually implement that, we can actually have what I call the next generation in line with Industry 4.0. We call it the subsurface 4.0. And that means we can actually build from planet to pore in much faster time, reduce the risk, and actually have what I call the agile field development. And this requires many of the things to be forgotten or addressed, like, for example, the multiplicity of the data, the breakdown of data silos, the question of who owns the data, which is such a waste of time and resource, and the need to put provenance into the system, both from data provenance, the information provenance, the model provenance that has to be included. Because if we can actually address those, then we are actually ready to adopt all these exponential technologies on your right hand side. They are essential. And from an academics point of view, I think many of these technologies have to be now brought into the courses for the students, so they are actually aware of it, what's happening with them, and how they can leverage them. Now, this disruption happens and is happening now. So this requires various pieces of the puzzle to come together, whether there's the data, the computing paradigm, right? The scalable data science, the digital and cloud computing paradigms, and on top of it is this talent that is what I call the avatar talent. And that is very, very important as we move forward. And with that, I will summarize that once the avatar talent is there, we can actually combine innovation with science, computing, and then transform the whole ecosystem. What I have covered in the slightly longer talk than I expected, but is that, digital transformation is here. It requires us that we be very smart to use it, and we can actually generate economic value for the industry, and we can actually reduce the chances of failures throughout the industry, and then build next generation of oil and gas or energy industry so that we can remain a sustainable player in energy transition landscape. With that, I will stop here. If there is a mechanism for question and answer, I'm happy to do that. If not, we can move on. And anybody who wants to contact me, please sure. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter, or here is my email address. If you want a more complex address, you can always send me email at Halliburton address, which is bigger, which is satyam.priyadarshi@halliburton.com. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope it was helpful to you. And if there are any questions, happy to take them.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
sir.
Purva and all. Okay.
Sorry. Should I continue?
No, yes, please continue.
Thank you so much, sir, for your treasured words. Trust is a legacy laid with profound persistence, commitment, and everlasting team spirit. It takes a great leader to create something so visionary. Satisfaction lies in the effort. Full effort, therefore, delivers a full victory. With this, we now arrive to the most awaited part of the day, the felicitation ceremony. In Technin Diet, under panel 1, the first position is bagged by Rohit Bindal, Sayantan Shivam Chakrabarti, and Vinam Sharma from UPS Dehradun. The second position is bagged by Priyanka Singh, Pranav IM, Syed Manjurul Islam from Presidency University. Under panel 2, the first position is bagged by Aditya Mishra, Dev Joshi, and Anjali Sharma from UPS Dehradun. The second position is bagged by Purnayan Mitra, Redmi Sai Sampath Reddy from UPS Dehradun.
For Petroset, under panel 1, the first position is secured by Aditya Mishra, Dev Joshi, and Anjali Sharma from UPS Dehradun. The second position is secured by Firoza Sheikh, P. Sohail Ahmed, Rizvi A from Presidency University. Under panel 2, the first position is backed by Purnayan Mitra, Redmi Sai Sampath Reddy, and Udit Agrawal from UPS Dehradun. The second position is backed by Sparsh Modi, Ruby Susen Raju, VIT Vellore.
For present the past, the first position is backed by Rohit Bindal, Riya Yadav, and Sayantan Shivam Chakrabarti from UPS Dehradun. The second position is backed by Jacob, Sai P. Hariharan, and Vishal V. from VIT Vellore.
For Camobet, in the first place we have Akshat Gaba, Harshvardhan Borai, and Karan Sharma from UPS Dehradun. In the second place we have Ayush Nair, Muskan Kothari, and Rajdeep Soni from VIT Vellore.
For geologics, in the first place we have Saransh Maheshwari, Robin Singh, and Rohit Bindal from UPS Dehradun. In the second place we have Amira Varda, Mohammad Rashdan, and Aini Tashim from UTP Malaysia.
For Enigma, the first position is backed by Amira Varda, Mohammad Rashdan, and Aini Tasneem from UTP Malaysia. The second position is backed by Saransh Maheshwari, Jay Verma, and Akshash Bura from UPS Dehradun.
For oil cognition, the first position is backed by Harshit Soni and Himanshu Shukla from UPS Dehradun. The second position is backed by Jacob, Sai P. Hariharan, and Vishal V. from VIT Vellore.
For Democratically Yours, the first position is backed by Krutarth Patel from PDU and Vishal V from VIT Vellore. The second position is backed by Rizvi A from Presidency University and Akshat Gaba from UPS Dehradun.
For organization, in the first place we have Jacob, Sai P. Hariharan, and Vishal V. from VIT Vellore. In the second place we have Nirnay Kumar Mohanty, Anurag Kulabi, and Pranav Shukla from UPS Dehradun.
For Capture the Fracture, with 3,550 likes, the award for most liked photography is backed by Aditya Sharma from UPS Dehradun. The award for best photo submission is a tie between Ritu Chaurasia from UPS Dehradun and Hardik Rawat from UPS Dehradun.
And lastly, the Best Campus Ambassador Award goes to Muskan Kothari from VIT Vellore.
On behalf of the chapter, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all the winners who have put their best foot forward to excel in their respective events.
The successful execution of CRUST 21 has been an outcome of great endeavor, planning, and guidance. We express our heartfelt gratitude to our co-conveners of CRUST 21, Mr. Ashutosh Mathur, Vice President, UPS APG Student Chapter, and Ms. Nandini Rajput, Secretary, UPS APG Student Chapter, for standing as an unwavering pillars of strength and guidance throughout, for continuing the legacy and for setting greater milestones with their efforts. I now invite our co-convener, Mr. Ashutosh Mathur, to come forward and address us all.
Thank you, Srishti. Accomplishments are driven with aspirations that grant you with the unparalleled wings, and you continue to sail towards the vision in the sky of opportunities. Always believe in yourself and always stretch yourself beyond your limits. Your life is worth a lot more than you think because you are capable of accomplishing more than you know. You have more potential than you think, but you will never know your full potential unless you keep challenging yourself and pushing yourself, your own self-imposed limits. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Ashutosh Mathur, co-convener and vice president UPS APG student chapter, welcome you all. Oil and gas is an ever-expanding sector with rapid advancements, and we believe that the key idea to consolidate and understand these developments is an extensive interaction between the academic and industry sphere should be found. With this, we now stand at the closing of the 5th edition of our international conference and workshop. I take this opportunity to thank our chief guest, Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi, our honored guest, Mr. Arun Singhal, Dr. Kaustav Nag, respected faculty members, HOD Dr. Sunil Kumar Khare, alumni, and our esteemed faculty advisor, Dr. Udeban, for standing with us and for us throughout the fest and making it an immense success. CRUST 21 has been an absolute phenomenon, comprising of comprehensive and enriching technical events, guest lectures, and panel discussions. Indeed, it was a marvel to behold, giving all the participants the exceptional chance to boost their intellect and skills by interacting with the industry's greatest minds. And I believe that CRUST 21 has given us treasured multitude of experience, insights, and memories. Heartiest congratulations to all the participants for exhibiting a spectacular participation throughout. It gave us immense pleasure to have you with us, and may you continue on your endeavors with great consistency and unleash the best of your potential at every turn. I would like to wish all of you success in every endeavors you pursue. Thank you again for joining us. Hope we see you at the next edition of CRUST. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words.
Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. On that account, I would now like to humbly invite our leader, Mr. Apur Kumar Jha, President of UPS APG Student Chapter, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ananya. Thank you, Shrishti, for giving me this humbling opportunity. Good evening, everyone. I, Apur Kumar Jha, President of the UPS AEPG Student Chapter, on behalf of the UPS AEPG team and CRUST 21 Annual International Conference and Workshop, I'm honored to be in the presence of some of the greatest minds and the most visionary minds, not only in this country, but around this world. Like our guest, Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi said, it is a blessing in disguise with this at this time that we can join in with and learn from people from all around the world. I take this opportunity to humbly thank our chief guest, Dr. Satyam Priyadarshi, honorable guest, Dr. Kaustav Nag and Mr. Arun Kumar Singhal, for joining us and lightening up the occasion with their wisdom. I hope the future can learn from them. My gratitude to Mr. A.K. Joshi, Mr. P.V. Chaukimat, Dr. Vishesh Nath Pushkar, Dr. Manish Shukla, Ms. Sridevi Bale, Mr. Gopal Mistry, and Mr. R.K. Raigar, and Dr. Amit Saxena for gracing us in this endeavor with their presence. And I hope we can have the honor to host all of you again. I also would like to express my deepest gratitude to the UPS administration, the Student Enrichment and Exchange Program, SEE, the School of Engineering, our Dean, Mr. G.S. Work, the Department of Petroleum Engineering and Earth Sciences, Dr. Sunil Kumar Khare, our Head of Department, and our esteemed faculty members for their presence and support, which made this edition of our International Conference and Workshop a grand success and a milestone to behold, because this was just a dream which would never have happened. All hope was lost as the hope for doing an event virtually of this scale was thought to be impossible, at least in our minds, before we did it. The UPS AEPG Student Chapter has and always will keep working for our members. That is our motto, to the best of our abilities and strength. The team, since its establishment in 2012, has seen a meteoric rise, all due to the efforts of our visionary leader and faculty advisor, Dr. Udeban. And all of this has been combined with the relentless efforts of the UPS AEPG alumni team, who have showered us with their blessings and invaluable support over the years, and taught UPS AEPG the most basic values of doing work ever. That is, before we start and before we finish, we ask what, why, and how. And when we get the answers to those three questions, and those three answers fall in the right level of life and our values, pursue the work. Otherwise, we do not continue. I humbly ask the corporation, Dehradun, Illinois Corporation Limited, IOCL, Halliburton, Drilling and Exploration World Journal, DEW Journal, Petrogate Academy, and our hospitality partners, Stanza Living, for their trust and belief in our team. I thank our participating colleges and all our participants for being the key to our success. Our team shares its utmost respect for your commitment and respect for we can for our next edition. I'd like to thank the team which made it all happen, the team with the golden hand, Team UPS AEPG Student Chapter. In a fighting year, in unreal circumstances, they pulled off a magical performance for which I have nothing but my utmost respect. And saying anything more will not disrespect go any higher. Finally, I'd like to respect for being the guiding light to all that has happened over the past 3 days, all the good that has happened over the past 3 days. My friends, my very own friends and co-conveners, Ms. Nandini Rajput and Mr. Ashutosh Mathur, for their relentless and unconditional efforts that they have made to make Crust 21 not only a possibility, but a dream benchmark to behold even in the given conditions. I again express my heartfelt gratitude and respect to everyone who has been a part of this event, and I hope our endeavor was a fruitful and knowledgeable one. With this, I thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. With this, we conclude our closing ceremony. We are thankful to each one of you for sharing the best of your support and participation in making this fest successful. Your awards, certification, and felicitation will be provided to you via mail by the end of this week. We hope to have you with us again in Crust 22 next year. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you had an amazing experience. With this, we conclude our closing ceremony. You may now leave the session.
I request all guests and participants to please leave the session, or we'll be closing the meeting in the next 1 minute. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.